Okay, here's a quick snapshot of my kitchen sink here. And as I zoom in, you'll notice that over the years, we've had a few small water leaks. The garbage disposal went out, and then some of these inexpensive plastic drain pipes have caused some trouble over the years. And what's happened is the minimal water has created a pretty good amount of damage. So this area is really rough, peeling, it's uneven, and it just looks bad. So this video is designed to show you how to fix that inexpensively, under $50, by covering it with tile. So this is kind of tiling 101. And so before we get started, I want to let you know that I'm a pastor and a Christian. There's a lot more important things in life than just kitchen sinks and tile. So as soon as you get your project finished, cruise over my other videos and take a peek, especially the one on how to become a Christian. With that said, let's get started. Okay, let's talk about some of the supplies you'll need to gather before you begin. You'll need to have, obviously, some tile. Ranges in price from about $1 a square foot to around $5 or $6 a square foot. And since we're only covering about 6 to 8 square feet, that's no problem at all. You'll also need some thinset. Now this thinset you have to mix with water. It's obviously made for a much bigger tile job. It's what I had available to me. But you can buy thinset already pre-mixed for very inexpensive, probably under $10 for a small tub of that. You'll also need some grout. And this also mixes with water. And so a small bag of grout, the smallest you can find, would be fantastic. You'll also need a couple of tools. This tool is designed to spread the thinset, and I'll show you how to use it in a bit, but this will set the depth of the thinset. They also make a smaller version. These are very inexpensive. This tool here is designed to apply the grout, so pretty cheap there. And then a couple other items. You're going to need some spacers. The orange are 1/4 inch. So these are plastic and very inexpensive. And then by way of tools, a couple other items. I'm mixing the thinset, so I've got a mixer and a drill available. And then I'll also have a couple of power saws. This is a dry tile saw to cut the pieces, especially around the pipes we're going to have to be working around. And then also underneath there is a small wet saw. Both of those are available, but those are probably around $100 or so each, maybe. You can buy hand tools, and since you're only cutting 5 or 6 pieces of tile, the hand tools would be more than adequate for this kind of job. You can pick those up at Lowe's or Home Depot. So these are the supplies that we need. Again, I think you can pick up all of these things, if you're frugal, for probably around $50 or so. So with the tools now in place, let's get started. Okay, normally the first step you'd like to do is to lay down some cement board to make sure this is extremely level and smooth. Tile can't tolerate uneven surfaces. It'll crack if you have it on uneven surfaces. But in this case, really what we're doing is more decorative than any kind of support, because there's no weight that's going to be applied other than just some normal cleaners under your sink. So I'm going to just forego the cement board, and what I want to do next is dry lay all of the pieces. So I'm going to cut all of the pieces kind of like a puzzle, make sure they fit properly before I apply any of the thinset. And so you'll notice I've got my spacer in here, I've got my first piece at the back, so I'm simply going to take my next piece, measure and mark where I need to cut out in order to accommodate this electrical cable here. And so nonetheless, I'm going to mark, and then I'll take it outside and I'll give you a shot at what it looks like to cut tile. Okay, and this saw is just like a table saw. I've got my guide lined up here, got my places marked. I know where I'm going to end the cut. I'm simply going to turn it on. This one uses water to cool the blade and saw to those points. And I'll let you take a peek as soon as I got that done. The first piece cut, you can see how I saved the scrap to put back in place so that that'll be almost invisible once we lay the tile. Now, I'm continuing to cut and do the same procedure around all the other fixtures that are in the way. And I'm also going to take some sandpaper. I've got to knock down this high spot. Water obviously distorted this part right here, just around this electrical connection. And so I want to sand this a little flatter. It'll make the tile lay smoother. That's the exact reason you would use cement board. Again, I don't want to do that just because I have no weight on this, but I do need it a little smoother than that. So I'll show you the next picture with it all laid in and ready to be set into the thinset. Okay, this is what it looks like when it is laid dry. As you can see, I've got all my pieces in place. And so I'm ready to mix the thinset and apply that next. So I'll give you some instructions on how to do that, and we'll proceed with laying this tile. Alright, I've got about a half a bucket here of thinset powder, water to mix it with, and also a drill. I'm looking for the consistency of about peanut butter. Again, if you were doing this job and it's the same size just under the sink, you could buy this pre-mixed and it would make this easier, but this is what I had on hand. So we're going to mix this up and then I'll show you how to apply it. Okay, so I'm just taking my trowel and mortar and working it onto the base and using the square cutouts as the dimension for the depth of the material. Just going to work this all the way across the bottom, and then I'll be ready to place the tile. At the base of the unit here, all coated with thinset in rows that are all even, ready to just simply press the tile onto the thinset. In each case, I'm just going to press down, kind of give it a little bit of a twist, seat it down in the thinset, and then let it dry overnight. Okay, the thinset has dried overnight, hardened up. The tiles are fixed in place now, look really good. I'm going to now just mix the grout with water till it's the same consistency as we made with the thinset, pretty thick. And then using this tool, going to apply the grout into the joints. It's going to be messy, it's going to have grout all over the top of the tile, that's no problem. We'll show you how to clean that up after we get it applied. So let me get things worked in and then I'll shoot the next video. Okay, you can see I've spread the grout around all the joints and made quite a mess doing so. So the last step is to take a sponge and a bucket of water, rinse the sponge out and simply wipe up all of the excess grout, and that'll leave it in the joint compounds with a nice even coat. And I'll give you a final shot once I get this part finished. Okay, and so here's the finished product. All the tiles laid. Here's a nice shot of the grout all wiped up. And that's the finished product. So for about $50 you can transform what used to be a very warped and rotten looking place under the sink to something that looks really nice. Hope this was helpful to you. Remember, I'm a Christian and a pastor. I'd love for you to check out the other videos, especially the one about how to become a Christian. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.